Hey everyone, welcome back to the Film Feast. My name is Sam Donchus, I am your host, and it's so good to have you back again! The aesthetic is a little bit different this week because I lost my tripod quick release plate and my light blew out. So I'm using my desk lamp and I'm using my tabletop tripod, working with what I've got. The show must go on. It's a very light week for film news, so I want to get into it right now. And real quick, stay tuned for the end of this episode where I'll be doing a giveaway. Steven Spielberg might direct the West Side Story remake. And that's a big might from what I can tell from reading this story from Deadline.com, that it just seems right now that it's just a lot of little pieces moving right now. Possibly getting the stars to line up for Steven Spielberg to make this new musical. Spielberg has said personally that he does have an interest in remaking the film, but I think he has his hands in a lot of different projects already right now. Since he does have an interest in it, I think studios are going to move heaven and earth to make it happen because, you know, it's Spielberg. He's one of the most popular mainstream directors still making quality work these days. Nobody's going to want to pass up on a chance to work with Steven Spielberg on remaking West Side Story. That's going to be a big picture when it finally does come out. I think audiences are gonna flock to it. What's that? Do I hear the noise of Oscar buzz? Already? The Oscar buzz is pollinating people. Okay, next story. From Collider.com, there will be a film adaptation of The Last of Us. In case you've been living under a rock for a while, The Last of Us was one of the most popular video games of 2013, a survival horror created by the studio Naughty Dog. They also made the Uncharted games. And while Naughty Dog has had a little bit of trouble getting the Uncharted movie off the ground, this Last of Us adaptation seems to be going off without a hitch so far. I wouldn't be bringing you this story if I didn't think that there was a possibility of it actually happening. But as I'm reading this story, this press release, it seems like the gears are moving so well that, you know, it might really happen. First off, Screen Gems will be distributing the film. Neil Druckmann will be writing the screenplay, and the co-presidents of Naughty Dog, Evan Wells and Christoph Balestra, are producing it. And if all that wasn't convincing enough, Sam Raimi will also be producing the film. Okay, let's roll that back a little bit. The film already has 3 producers, one of which is Sam fucking Raimi, notable for his Evil Dead series. 2 of the producers are co-presidents of Naughty Dog, the company that made the game. The writer is the creative director of the game, and Screen Gems is distributing the film. Pretty much all they need now is at least a semi-capable director and a couple of stars. Now, just to kind of play around with casting decisions, I like Eric Bana for the role of Joel. I think Bana has a lot of range, and Joel is a character who goes through so much emotional strain. He's very gruff, very tortured, and weathered by the infection that's been going around the last 30 years. And as far as the character of Ellie goes, I'm not exactly sure which actress would be perfect for her. Everyone's gonna say Ellen Page, and I'm gonna say no. Ellie is like 14, and Ellen Page looks at least 23 years old. You need a young girl to play Ellie. That's the bottom line. My mind automatically shoots to Abigail Breslin because she was in Zombieland and she's sort of kind of around that age. But again, there's so many young, talented actresses out there that I don't know about. But casting agencies do, and they will find the right girl to play Ellie. Or they'll fuck up and choose Ellen Page and everything will be terrible. Who do you like for the roles of Joel and Ellie? And obviously there's also a long list of supporting characters, and it would be nice to see some of them show up in the movie. And now for the third and final story of the week, Snowpiercer will be coming out on June 27th. On the second episode of the Film Feast, I talked about how the Weinstein Company is finally yielding the director's cut of this movie for distribution in the United States, which is awesome. But I also said that they're doing what's called a platform release, which means that the film will be coming out over a long period of time across multiple cities in the United States. I automatically get a little pessimistic when I think about platform releases because there have been so many movies over time that have not made it to my hometown of Baton Rouge, but this is the Weinstein Company. They were able to get the Grandmaster to cities like Savannah and Baton Rouge, so anything could happen. For the cities that will be getting it on June 27th, the film will be coming out alongside Transformers: Age of Extinction, which I just did a trailer review for, and you can go watch that right now. And then this isn't really a story, this is a rumor, which I don't like glorifying rumors, but I figured what the hell. It's being tossed around that the Wachowskis are developing another Matrix trilogy, which has gotten a lot of buzz going around on the internet because The Matrix is obviously a very popular film. Its sequels, not so much. But I think people love the concept, and some, maybe not all, are willing to revisit it. I'm just surprised that the Wachowskis are willing to revisit it. You would think, being, 10 years removed from the saga, they would say, hey, let's just let it lie. But that might not be the case. What would you like to see out of new Matrix movies? Me, I would like to see more of the human struggle. I think that they were trying to focus on that with the sequels, but they also kind of really had to focus on keeping the war also within the Matrix. So there was a lot of garbled mythology there in the middle ground that just didn't come through, didn't kind of come to a head and communicate itself well to audiences at all. Whenever they pull you out of the Matrix and into the real world, they give you the name of your online handle. Neil Anderson was Neo. With me, it wouldn't have been that creative. They would have pulled me out at the age of 17 or so. And they would just call me Naruto vs. Sasuke 17. You're our only hope, Naruto vs. Sasuke 17. And now for the trailer of the week. This week, it's Stage Fright. It looks like a really fun slasher flick, and it's starring Minnie Driver and Meatloaf. Other than that, there's nothing that I can really tell you about it that the trailer won't tell you. So just go check it out. I put the link in the D box below. And enjoy. And now for something new, a giveaway! Speaking of fun slasher flicks, this week, I'll be giving away my personal UltraViolet code for You're Next. You're Next is arguably one of the best horror films to come out in 2013. So to win, all you need to do is, in the comments below, tell me, what is your most anticipated film of 2014? I know, we're already 2.5 months into 2014, but from the pool of movies that have not come out yet, choose from that. Write it in the comments below. I'll put your name into a random generator and then blah! And that is it for this week's Film Feast. I know, not a lot to talk about. Hopefully next week will be more, plentiful. Until then, stay tuned, thank you for watching, and have a good week.